In this lesson, we'll learn how we can construct advanced shapes using compound shapes. Okay, so in the previous lesson, we learned about a compound path. And we've got that down here, our circle with our triangle in it. Remember, that's a compound path. Now, if you remember 2 lessons ago, we actually learned about the Pathfinder panel and some of these shape modes. We talked about how these shape modes are destructive ways of actually creating some more advanced shapes. Well, there's actually another way that we can use these different shape modes. We can use these to create what's known as a compound shape. Let me just go ahead and zoom in here on our cluster of rectangles, and let's go ahead and explore how we might go about doing that. Alright, now really it's quite easy. All we have to do is go ahead and select our shapes, whatever ones we want to go ahead and make into a compound shape. Let's go ahead and select these 2 for right now. Let's pull this one over on top of that one. Let's select both of those, and let's say we want to use this unite function, but we don't want to commit to this. We want this to be something we can revert back from. So let's just select unite by holding down our Alt key and then clicking on it. Now notice it followed the same rules as the shape mode before. The new shape took on the color and the appearance attributes of the topmost shape, but notice now that we can actually double click on this shape and enter into isolation mode. Now this is a compound shape, so we can actually grab either one of these shapes and we can actually move them around and modify the compound shape. Now if you remember before when we were using Unite, we couldn't do that. It was a permanent change. Now also notice here that if we select this compound shape, the expand button is now available to us. Now what this expand button is going to do is it's going to commit to this compound shape and make it permanent. So it'll be like we'd never held down Alt when we clicked Unite. So if we click that, you can see here that this is now just a path. It's no longer a compound shape, and it's now permanent. So you know what, I don't want to do that. Let's go ahead and undo that change here, and let's take a look at this compound shape in our layers panel. You can see here now that we also have a new type of object here. Not only do we have our compound path, but now we have a compound shape. Now the compound shape, we can actually twirl that little arrow down and we can see inside it the 2 paths that make up that compound shape. So we've got another new type of entry here in our layers panel for compound shapes. Let's go ahead and just minimize that here, and let's go ahead and undo back to where we have our original rectangles. There we go. Now we can actually create compound shapes for each of these 4 different shape modes here. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and drag in a 3rd object here. Let's go ahead and grab this one and bring it in as well. And let's go ahead and create another type of compound shape here. Let's go ahead and just do the minus front option here, and I'll hold down my Alt key. Alright, so in doing that, notice here that it had the same result, only we can actually come in and modify this compound shape if we're not happy with that result. We can come in and double click on it, and we can select the paths for these 2 shapes that are creating this knocked out area, and we can move these around. Alright, let me just jump out of isolation mode here. Now remember before I told you that we can make this change permanent by hitting this expand button up here. We can actually also come over here to Object and choose Expand Appearance, and that'll have the exact same result as hitting this expand button over here. But you know what, let's just say we actually want to release this compound shape, and we want to go back to the original shapes we started with here. Let's come up here and just come to the Pathfinder flyout menu here, and let's go ahead and release this compound shape. And you can see here we're back to where we started. We've got our 3 original rectangles here, and their color attributes have actually been remembered, so we don't have to worry about coming in and actually recoloring these shapes. Alright, so in this lesson we have learned about compound shapes and how we can create, edit, and modify a compound shape. Now we've been dealing with shapes that I've pretty much been applying appearance attributes to up until now, but in the next lesson we're going to learn how we can actually apply and manage appearance attributes for our objects.